Picture this. A regular afternoon at a Sydney shopping centre erupts into chaos as a man goes on a stabbing rampage, leaving 6 people dead. In Melbourne, in once peaceful suburbs like St Kilda, residents are now terrified by violent attacks, from a teenager slashing a stranger with a machete to an elderly man having a bottle smashed over his head on a tram. These aren't scenes from a thriller or some distant war-torn land. This is Australia, right now. The headlines are staggering and real. 6 killed in Bondi Junction Mall massacre. Crime spree in St Kilda, residents plead for help. It's enough to make any Aussie stop and wonder what on earth is going on. Is Australia becoming more dangerous, or are we just now starting to see the real picture? That's the provocative question on everyone's mind. In this video, we're going to dig deep into Australia's so-called crime crisis. We'll look at the alarming spike in crime stats that has people shaken, especially in New South Wales and Victoria. We'll examine who might be failing us, from lenient bail laws to backlogged courts and politicians with big promises but little action. We'll scrutinise the role of our police and government and even compare how we're doing versus other developed countries. Most importantly, we'll ask the tough question. With all these failures, who's actually to blame for letting Aussies down? Stick with us, mate, because the answers aren't as simple as lock 'em up or she'll be right. But by the end, you'll have a clearer picture and plenty to think about. Crime's roaring through Australia like a feral beast. You reckon your suburbs dodging this storm? Victoria's 2024 tally is a gut punch. 456,453 offences, up 18.7% from last year, spiking the rate to 8,691 per 100,000. New South Wales is in the thick of it too. Murders jumped to 85, a 46.5% surge from 58, worst since 2014. This isn't just about numbers, it's chaos in real lives. Picture Bondi Junction, Westfield, April 13th, 2024. A casual shop turns deadly when Joel Karchi, a 40-year-old drifter, stabs 6 people in a frenzy. Chaos erupts. Shoppers bolt, blood stains the tiles. Karchi was a mental health mess, off his rocker for years, known to cops but free to roam. 6 good Aussies didn't make it home. How many more loose cannons are ticking out there? Ready to blow. St Kilda's a shadow of its old self. Melbourne's Bayside is bleeding chaos now. One bloke's quiet tram ride ends with a bottle smashed over his head. No spark, just sudden violence. The joint's unravelling. 10,853 incidents in Port Phillip, with addicts slumped in alleys and youths torching cars for thrills. Victoria's youth are running riot. 7,414 kids nabbed 24,550 times in 2024, a tight 330 repeaters at the helm. When do we stop these brats and bashers from owning our streets? New South Wales's western suburbs are a powder keg, gang wars lighting up the night. One hit saw a hail of bullets rip through a house, dropping 2 brothers over a drug feud. 8 multi-victim murders like that in 2024. Domestic violence is choking us. Victoria's 104,000 incidents mean a call every 5 minutes, while Sydney's assaults climbed 6%. One lass begged for help, only to cop a busted jaw from her partner days later. Victoria's top cop Bob Hill didn't mince words. Crimes at levels we've never seen. 73,539 arrests, 201 a day, most ever tracked. Who's letting our homes and shops turn into slaughter zones? Victoria's highways are a crook's paradise. Motor thefts hit 75,731, up 33%, with 27,000 plates pinched to cloak the next job. Just 5 years ago, Victoria's theft numbers were under 57,000 annually, showing a rapid spike of over 30% in half a decade alone. In New South Wales, similar jumps are visible, with motor thefts rising nearly 20% since 2019, showing we're clearly on a worsening trajectory. Are we facing just a wave or a rising tide? Out west, sexual assaults are spiking, up 8.8% yearly, with one lass jumped in a Parramatta alley, left shaken and sore. Bayside mums dodge aggro beggars snapping at prams. $1 million views don't shield you anymore. How did our postcard towns flip into crime-riddled traps? The madness keeps rolling. Economic strains cracking us wide open. One jobless dad torched his shed in a rage, sparks flying as his life fell apart. Mental health's a live wire. Too many lost souls hit the streets and snap, leaving cops to mop up the mess. Are we just counting the carnage or staring down a broken nation? From alley ambushes to shed fires, who's letting this spiral spin wild? The courts, the pollies, or us sitting on our hands? Crime's choking us, so who's asleep at the wheel? Courts are a farce. Victoria's bail laws got toughened after a 15-hour yak fest, yet a teen arsonist walked free same day, smirk on his dial. New South Wales' judiciary's no sharper. A Parramatta repeat brawler got a bond, not bars, despite a rap sheet thick as a phone book. Why's the bench turning a blind eye? Pollies patch the law with spit and tape. Loopholes let a Melbourne thug skip jail after breaching an AVO, leaving his ex in a panic. Are these paper tigers meant to scare crooks, or just us? Cops are stuck in mud. The top dogs keep shoveling more. Victoria's brass slashed overtime. A Geelong beat cop missed a servo break-in, tied up logging last week's mess. And it's not just Geelong, mate. Melbourne's frontline cops faced over 15% staffing shortages in 2024, leaving crucial patrols unfilled and stations empty-handed. New South Wales isn't faring much better. With nearly 12% of positions vacant statewide, even Sydney's busiest beats are feeling the pinch. How can we expect cops to hold the line when we've got them running on fumes? New South Wales' fleet's a joke. One Penrith squad car's down for repairs, leaving a lone officer to eyeball a gang hideout. Why is the gear so seriously knackered? A Ballarat mum rang for help. Her ex was circling. No patrol came till he'd scarpered. Are the chiefs too busy budgeting to back the front line? Politicians are all talk. Their fixes are bloody fairy tales. Victoria's suits bragged up new laws, but a Bendigo servo's still a sitting duck. No extra coppers assigned. New South Wales' pollies axed a gang unit. Cost saving, they reckon, while western suburbs dodge stray rounds. Are these blokes just here to pose, or do they think we're daft? Judges play it safe. Justice is a bloody coin flip now. Courts in New South Wales waved off a repeat servo thief. Low risk, they ruled, despite 5 priors in a year. Victoria's bench dodged a hard call. A Ballarat brawler got community service, back-swinging fists by week's end. Why's the robe so spineless? Mental health's a black hole. The system's just kicking the can down the road. New South Wales' psych wards are gutted. A Wollongong bloke waved a plank at traffic, no spot, back on the loose by noon. Victoria's plans are bust. A Bendigo nutter trashed a park bench. Cops palmed him off. No beds free. Why's the fix a bloody myth? Society's gone quiet. We're letting the cracks widen. New South Wales' rich burbs turn a blind eye. A Vaucluse toff got rolled for his Rolex. Mates didn't blink. Are we too numb to care or just waiting for our turn? Red tape's a noose. Cops are choked by nonsense. Victoria's brass drowned a sting. A Ballarat cop had a servo crook dead to rights, nixed for safety. Why's the rulebook a bloody straitjacket? A Werribee mum's call went cold. Ex torched her bins, cops stalled by protocol. Who's scripting this farce while we cop the heat? Policy's a dud. The rules are cooked from the jump. New South Wales' tough on crime bill flopped. A Vaucluse servo crook got a bond. Priors ignored. Victoria's AVO tweaks a bust. A Werribee ex dodged jail, trashed her car next day. Why's the law all bark and no bite? We're on the ropes, but the cavalry's AWOL. Courts punt a Ballarat thug. Not a threat, they say. He's back smashing windows by dusk. Polly's dodged the mess. A Werribee mum's stuck barring her door. No help coming. Are we just sitting ducks? Who's got the guts to fix this? Courts, coppers, suits, or us? And what's the bloody price if we let this rot fester? Why is solving this crime mess proving so damn tough? Start with the kids. Youth crimes ripping through Victoria like a runaway train, with 7,414 nabbed 24,550 times in 2024, and a core group of 330 driving the chaos. Queensland's got 56.8% of detained youths back at it within a year, while Victoria's stats hit harder. 86% of those caught before 13 reoffend in 6 years. Why can't we stop this cycle spinning out of control? You think tougher laws are the ticket when numbers show kids come back worse? Some reckon locking them up just hardens them. So are we missing a smarter play? Programs to steer these youths straight are fading fast, with cuts leaving gaps no one's filling. Who's letting that slip? Is it easier to slap on cuffs than build a way out? Picture a kid nicking a car because he's got nothing else. Does a cell fix that? Or are we too set on punishment to try something with guts? We're stuck deep in this youth tangle. The system's failing fast. National data from 2022 to 2023 shows a 6% jump in youth offenders, with reincidency climbing. Why is it so hard to make early moves that stick? You reckon a quick warning turns a kid from pinching a ute? The system's failing by design, and overseas models prove we're years behind. Are we too slow to ditch the old playbook? Or just hooked on looking tough? Imagine a setup where a kid gets caught early. Real help, not just a slap. Could that break the loop? Or are we too proud to borrow from overseas? Politicians are spinning wheels with no traction. It's a mess. Victoria's government touts toughest bail laws ever after years of tweaks, but crime's still up, with 7,414 youths nabbed in 2024. Why is all this talk not hitting the mark? You think a shiny new law fixes a system creaking under pressure? Cops are stretched thin. 7,000 vacancies nationwide, while pollies keep posing with promises. Who's winning while they bicker? Is safety just a vote grab? Or can we demand more than hot air? Picture them filling those ranks and cutting the noise. Would that shift the needle? Or are we stuck with leaders too busy yapping to act? The bail game's a dud. Quick fixes over real solutions. Take MMA in Victoria, a kid with no record, nabbed under new bail laws, yet a judge warned custody might make him worse. In New South Wales, 44% of police bail refusals get overturned by courts in a day, wasting cash with no crime drop. Why is locking him up still the go-to when it flops? You reckon more patrols sort it if courts undo the work? Victoria's tough laws pile on, but youth outreach starves. Who's buying these patches? Could rehab, fixing kids, not caging them, nudge us forward? Society's a tough nut. Crime's roots run deep. Queensland's youth detention report shows kids leaving custody with no support, reoffending fast because the system drops them cold. Why is tackling the source so damn hard? You think cops fix homes stretched thin by cash woes? Indigenous Aussies cop it worst, overrepresented as victims and offenders stuck in a cycle no one's breaking. Who's stepping up to sort that? Is it too big a mess for our tools, or are we dodging the real fight because it's simpler to chase symptoms? What if we threw cash at support? Could that choke it off? Or are we too locked on quick wins? The base is shaky. No wonder we're floundering. Family violence hits Victoria every 5 minutes, 286 cases a day in 2024, with cash stress fanning the flames. Why is that fire so tough to put out? You think laws stop a punch when rent's overdue? A Guardian piece says Europe's rehab cuts reoffending to 20%, while our 60% recidivism shows punishments failing. Who's patching these gaps before they rip wider? Could real support, not just talk, trim the chaos? 8 states, 8 messes. It's a shambles costing us. The Australian Law Reform Commission flags how state differences let crims slip through. Think Albury gangs hopping New South Wales Vic borders. Why's syncing up so hard? You think offenders care about lines when they flog a car from Wodonga to Wagga? New South Wales's bail flip-flops, 44% overturned, show even one state's a mess. Who's letting this gap grow? Could one playbook shut it down? Or are state egos too big to align? Coordination's a nightmare. Holes everywhere. New South Wales's bail chaos, courts undoing 44% of police calls, hints at bigger rifts between states. Why is it a free-for-all when crime crosses borders? You reckon a knife stops at the Murray because rules shift? The ALRC says fragmented laws let offenders play the gaps, and calls for unity go nowhere. Who's stalling this fix? Could one system clip those wings? Or are we too comfy with the mess? Vision's short. We're patching, not building. Victoria's youth crimes sky high, 104,000 family violence cases in 2024, and outreach cash dries up. Why is the long game so elusive? You think patrols catch the unhinged before they snap? While we throw kids back into a busted cycle, Europe's doubling down on second chances. And it's working. Who's planning past the next vote? Could a decade-long push, kids guided, support solid, work? This mess is a beast. Who's got the guts to crack it? New South Wales clocked 85 murders in 2024. Victoria hit 104,000 domestic cases. Violence is soaring. Why is justice so slow it's a joke? You think waiting till 2026 for trials keeps us safe? Pollies push laws, but cops sit empty-handed. Who's got a fix to cut through? Could one playbook end the gaps? Or are we avoiding the tough stuff because it's easier to coast? Imagine courts, fast, cops full, plans deep, too much, or too hard to fight for. Who's left holding the bag? So, what's the wash-up after all this? Crime's running wild across Australia. Kids nicking cars, streets turning feral, and families copping it every 5 minutes. Bail laws flop, courts dawdle, pollies yap, and state lines are a crook's playground. It's a total shambles. Are we stuck with this chaos as the new normal? Cops need gear, rehab needs cash, and someone's got to sink this mess. But will it happen? Or are we just copping it sweet? I reckon it's on all of us to push harder, not just shrug. If this vid's cleared up why Australia's feeling dicey, I'm stoked. This channel's only kicking off. Hit subscribe, chuck us a like, share it round so more Aussies get the picture. If you want to really understand what's shaping Australia today, don't miss the deep dive into how Chinese immigration has influenced everything from our gold rush roots to today's housing market. See you there.